Sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 say yeah, I like that, bring that right here, say sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, say yeah, I like that, bring that right here, say sit down, right there, don't go nowhere.
Welcome back, we back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to what the F happened to Jet Li. Now, this is by Joe Blow, I guess. Originals. Hopefully I didn't butcher their name. This is actually a great question. What did happen to Jet Li? He probably just, hopefully he's still alive and healthy and mentally healthy. But he probably just retired from the acting game and is chilling out somewhere on a beach. Hopefully, that's what I want. Let's get into it though.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
This legendary hero warrior man conquered and literally kicked ass in the world of martial arts, then succeeded in a great transition to Chinese Hong Kong Kung Fu cinema, topping it off with a magnificent career in the land of Hollywood land. Jet Li is 5 foot 6 inches of pure badass, always delivering exciting fight scenes, and every single time he is punching, kicking, and pushing the envelope. Jet Li never lets us down. And unlike a lot of other action stars, this dude has range. He doesn't play just a mindless kicking machine in every movie. No. He can play many different characters, many different moods. Vulnerable, brutal, powerful, hurt, noble, kind, evil, and dog. But lately it seems like we're seeing less and less of this warrior poet. But why? Why, I ask, why? Now join me and my trusted research team, a guy named Brad, as we go head to head in a battle to discover the answer to the question. A WTF question. And WTF stands for what the f***, in case you were wondering. So yeah, what the f***? What the f*** happened to Jet Li? But to truly understand what the f*** happened to Jet Li, we must start at the beginning. And the beginning began when he was born on his birthday, 1963, Beijing, China. His father passed away when Jet Li was only 2 years old, and his family was then forced to live in poverty. And in China, their wonderful, glorious government has the power, the unquestionable power, to pick/force your children into a summer activity. And for Jet Li, luckily his government assigned summer activity was martial arts. Force your children into a summer activity. And for Jet Li, luckily his government assigned summer activity was martial arts. Wushu style, if you care about styles. Li was a natural and quickly joined the Beijing Wushu team. By the age of 11, Li was competing against adults and beating them. He became a national all-around champion. And this was around the time when Bruce Lee had just passed away. So of course the Chinese movie industry was on a desperate search for the next Bruce Lee. And there was a hotshot fat cat movie producer who saw young Jet Li fighting and asked the young boy if he wanted to be an action star when he grew up. And with an enthusiastic yes from young Jet Li, that producer came and watched young Jet Li fight every year until he was old enough to take on the Chinese movie industry. Which I don't think you're ever old enough to take on that. The Beijing Wushu team even came to America as a goodwill friendship mission and performed in front of everybody's favorite president, Richard Milhouse Nixon, who asked young Jet Li to be his personal bodyguard.
Milhouse.
Some say he was joking, but Nixon wouldn't joke about that. But young Jet Li quickly responded with a respectful no thank you. saying that when he grows up, he does not want to protect just one individual, he wants to defend his 1 billion Chinese countrymen. And this answer pleasantly surprised the crowd, and even Henry Kissinger called young Jet Li a great diplomat. There was also a rumor that Nixon had bugged the hotel rooms of the Beijing Wushu team and were spying on them. 'Cause, you know, China. And to test this rumor, young Jet Li would talk to himself and ask the secret hidden microphones for things like ice cream. And wouldn't you know it, the next day, mysterious ice cream had arrived. Delicious Nixon-flavored ice cream.
I opened the door, anything I asked on the table. I thought, wow, that's true. It's fun.
The acclaim that Lee garnered as a master of martial arts led perfectly into starring roles in the Chinese/Hong Kong film scene. And there he was given the nickname Jet, because he's so fast like a jet, and his birth name was too hard to pronounce. Jet Li came out of the gate strong, playing a monk in the groundbreaking kung fu film Shaolin Temple in 1982. Jet Li was only 17 years old. This film was the first kung fu movie to be shot in mainland China and sold over 300 million tickets, making it one of China's highest-grossing films, adjusted for inflation. The film Shaolin Temple is credited with reviving the actual Shaolin Temple, making it a popular tourist spot.
Drunken Fizz?
And the film spawned 2 in-name only sequels that weren't as well received. Kids from Shaolin.
Just cut his the disrespect.
And Martial Arts of Shaolin in 1986. Also in 1986, Lee would hop behind the camera for the first and only time in a movie called Born to Defense. Then in 1991, Lee would officially earn that action star status that he was searching for with the Hong Kong martial arts film Once Upon a Time in China, playing a real-life folk hero. The film and its sequels are highly regarded in China and Hong Kong, and are credited with kicking off a massive martial arts craze in the early 90s. Y'all remember the early 90s? It was crazy.
That was a hindrance.
Lee would then star in a series of respected China/Hong Kong martial arts films, such as Dragon Fight in 1989. Yeah, Dragon Fight. In 1992, there was a movie called Swordsman. Also, 1992, that year, would bring us The Master. The following year, which is 1993, would bring The Legend, which made him a legend, and Tai Chi Master.
I haven't seen any of these,
Oh, let's not forget Kung Fu Cult Master. I love that title, Kung Fu Cult Master. Then the following year, 1994, would bring The New Legend of Shaolin, and The Defender, which is also known as Bodyguard from Beijing. A lot of these movies have 2 titles, so it's kind of confusing. Then he did the unthinkable and starred in a remake of the legendary Bruce Lee film, Fist of Fury, changing the title slightly to Fist of Legend. And it was like, what, you're remaking a Bruce Lee classic? How dare you? What are you thinking, Jet Li? That is really, really risky, but the risk paid off. And Fist of Legend has gone down as one of the best martial arts films ever made.
Nah, he could,
wow.
Yo, he keeps sending his fist back to him.
In 1995, Lee would appear in an action comedy called High Risk about a bodyguard and stunt double for a cowardly martial arts film star, which Lee would later discover was based off of Jackie Chan and Lee said he would have never agreed to have been in a movie that would make fun of Jackie Chan and its film star. In 1995, Lee would appear in an action comedy called High Risk about a bodyguard and stunt double for a cowardly martial arts film star, which Lee would
Cowardly. Bro, the disrespect is wild, bro. Whoever's directing need to get slapped up.
later discover was based off of Jackie Chan. And Lee said he would have never agreed to have been in a movie that would make fun of Jackie Chan in such a way. Disrespectful. Because Jet Li respects Jackie Chan. So yeah, High Risk. It's Jet Li making fun of Jackie Chan without realizing it.
Crazy.
But Jet Li did not enjoy working in Hong Kong because the film industry was controlled by the underground mafia. And that's never a good thing, and Jet Li was very uncomfortable with working with the mafia. For some reason. He even hired an agent to get him out of his contract. Then tragically, that agent was murdered.
Rest in peace.
Mysteriously. What many see as a mob hit. Yeah, it's a dirty business. But Lee would continue to make films, such as My Father the Hero in 1995. There was Dr. Wei in the scripture with no words, 1996. Also in 1996, there was a cool movie called Black Mask. The fight choreography is absolutely fantastic, but I mean, that can be said with every Jet Li movie. And 1998 brought us a movie called Hitman. Then Jet Li would make the epic
Why the hell was he just fighting Nick Wright? What the fuck?
Quest and Travel West, making his Hollywood debut. And even though Lee was a huge star in China/Hong Kong, his career as a famous movie star did not make him rich over there, because China. And at times, he was almost making nothing for his films. Extremely little, like unbelievably low amounts of money. So he was inspired by Jackie Chan to go overseas. So Jet would jet over to the land of opportunity, the United States of Hollyweird. You know, living that American dream. But Jet Li would soon find out that a short Asian man who can't speak good English wasn't just gonna be handed the keys to Tinseltown. He had to fight for it, like with everything in his life. His big break would come with the sequel to Lethal Weapon 3, called Lethal Weapon 4. In Lee's previous films, the ones in Asia, he always played the hero. But for his Hollywood debut, he would go evil for the first time. And for Lee, playing a bad guy was a real moral crisis for him. Even at one point asking the director, do I really have to play the bad guy?
I think I've seen Lethal Weapon 4, but my memory is tragic, so I know I've seen the first one, for sure, and the second one. Oh my god, it's the boot.
Of course, the role was originally offered to Jackie Chan, who refused to play a villain, because Jackie Chan has to save the day in every frickin' movie, but Jet Li just has to kick ass in every movie, no matter who the character is. Americans loved Jet Li's evil introduction. I remember the first time seeing the trailer for Lethal Weapon 4 and being like, wow, who's that? I can't wait to watch this rated R movie that I'm not allowed to watch. But his fans over in Asia, they were not sure they liked seeing their hero break bad. But it was a risk that Jet Li had to take. And he didn't really have many options. And as you know, at that time, Jet Li did not speak English very goodly, so he had to learn the language of English while making this movie. And since Jet Li was such a strong presence on film, they really wanted him in this movie, so the script was rewritten, reworked, and they cut down most of his dialogue, thus creating his strong silent persona, which was perfect. Director Richard Donner had asked Jet Li to slow down his martial arts moves because he was moving too fast for the camera. The camera couldn't actually register his moves. Think about that. The dude was moving faster than modern technology. Well, 1998 technology. It's pretty modern. in the sense of things and space and time and the history of all things.
Right. Nah, Jet was in his bag. I gotta go watch Lethal Weapon 4.
The film grossed over 285 million box office buckaroos off a $140 million budget, so that's good. And Jet Li knew that he was accepted by Western audiences when he was nominated for Best Villain at those MTV Movie Awards. Then came the new millennium, the year 2000. And as you know, since he had just played a villain, a bad guy, in Lethal Weapon 4, he had to play the hero in his next movie. And producer Joe Silver agreed to make him a good guy, giving Lee the starring role in a movie called Romeo Must Die, opposite the late great Aaliyah. Producer Joel Silver said that he had become bored with American action films at that time, so he turned to Hong Kong cinema to find something fresh for American audiences, and Jet Li, well, he was that fresh something. Romeo Must Die pulled in a respectable $91 million on a $25 million budget. Critics found Jet Li incredibly impressive in this film, but when he wasn't on screen, they said the movie was boring. Oh no, you don't want your movie to be boring. That's no good.
I can't hit a girl.
And at this time, Jet Li would learn a few things about being an international movie star. Unfortunately, being an international movie star means you're gonna have a lot of people, a lot of different people, diverse people to please, and you ain't gonna please everybody. Okay. Some fans in some countries expect some things from you, and other fans in other countries expect another thing, like playing the bad guy in Lethal Weapon 4. So his performance in Romeo Must Die was actually disappointing to some kung fu purist movie geeks, because they didn't like the wire work and the quote-unquote distracting hip-hop soundtrack. Also, there was some controversy with Jet Li, who, happens to be an Asian person, and Aaliyah, who, happens to be a black person. And the controversy came when those two people of different races were romantically connected in a movie. And that made people very uncomfortable because China and racism and stuff and things. It's not good. And in order to try to please racist people and non-racist people all over the world, they ended up not pleasing anybody. So they included the love story, but there were strict rules about physical touching between these two people who happened to be of two different races. Really? Ironically, with a guy named Romeo not being able to really be romantic with his leading lady. I think Aaliyah touches him on the cheek and then maybe pats him on the back. It's the love story of our time. So Jet Li was struggling to balance multiple cultural elements in his films, which is kind of ridiculous. He should have just focused on making good movies, But Jet and the studio had to consider some uncomfortable truths because that's show business.
That wire is
Jet Li himself would come up with the story for his next film, Kiss of the Dragon. And yet again, Jet Li was too fast for modern technology, 2001 technology, and the fight scenes had to be slowed down in post-production. They fixed it in post, because you couldn't clearly see what he was doing on screen. It was just like zip, 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 zip. What was that? I don't know. It was too fast. 24 frames per second ain't gonna catch that. And this film is actually famous for not using wires or CGI for the fight sequences, as Jet Li was perfectly capable of performing all the stunts without any assistance. Get out of here, wires, you're fired. We don't need you. The movie, Kiss of the Dragon, used more realistic fighting techniques similar to Jet Li's earlier films. The film went on to make $37 million. It received mixed reviews, most agreeing that the martial arts in the film were breathtaking, but many found the violence to be a bit too much, and the plot to be a bit too little.
Did he just press irons against this man's neck? That's a great film. Oh, you know he did. Bro, he just booted that into Mars.
Later in the year 2001, he would make a sci-fi movie called The One, about a man who travels through a multiverse to kill versions of himself in order to be,
I love this movie.
you guessed it,
The One.
The film pulled in a not-too-shabby $72.6 million worldwide off a $49 million budget, but the film was heavily criticized for burying Jet Li's natural martial arts talents under special effects and fast editing.
Man, that movie
no
was
need
good.
for these special effects and this editing you speak of. Cut out the cuts.
Okay, no, never mind.
Lee would then return to the Chinese-produced film Hero, where he plays the unnamed hero, the protagonist. And he actually turned down a role in the Matrix sequels for this. Looking back, it was the right move.
I said the Matrix is trash.
Because everyone hates the Matrix sequels except for the people that are wrong. At the time of Hero's release, the film was the most expensive film to ever be produced by mainland China, but it did have a hard time making its way over to the USA. Miramax was finally convinced to release the film after they were pressured by Disney executives, the Chinese government, and filmmaker Quentin Tarantino. So finally, in August 2004, it was released, where it became the first ever Chinese language film to open #1 stateside, and remained there for 2 weeks. Have you ever met a person that thinks when a movie says Quentin Tarantino presents, that it means that he directed it? Yeah, I hate that. The film made $53.7 million in the United States and Canada, and remains the third highest grossing foreign language film in North America. Go, Hero, go.
Oh no, the music hitting though.
Hero was even nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards, and ranked one of the top 100 action films ever made by Time Out magazine. The film has been called everything a martial arts fan could ask for, with Roger Ebert even saying that the film transcends action and violence and moves into poetry, ballet, and philosophy. But Jet Li's performance in Hero is truly timeless. His skills and his talent in this film are almost on a spiritual level. Hero.
Yeah, he's bugging.
Then his next movie was Cradle to the Grave in 2003, starring opposite the late great DMX and Tom Arnold. The film received mostly negative reviews, because the movie's dumb. Yet, as in the case with all of Jet Li's American films, reviewers made sure to point out that Jet Li was the bright spot in this horrible movie. Cradle to the Grave cost a reported $25 million and pulled in a $56 million box office, making it a moderate success. And when successes are moderate, it's still successful.
Hey man, little fake rush hour.
Kick your ass, Bruce! I'm not Bruce.
Then in 2004, Jet Li and his family were almost lost forever when that horrendous tsunami hit that took the lives of so many people. Jet Li and his family were, wrong place, wrong time. And Jet Li's own daughter was almost swept away. The water quickly rose over Jet Li's head as the wave washed over them. And through his quick thinking and actions, he was able to save his daughter. And like with so many other people who had loved ones in these areas, the world went a few days without knowing whether or not Jet Li and his family had perished. But because of Jet Li's quick thinking and the bravery of strangers, he and his family made it out. And it was this near-death experience that changed Jet Li's soul forever. So, he did the pay-it-forward thing. And he set up a foundation called One. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the movie The One. Probably doesn't. But this charity, one, it does some great work, thanks to Jet Li. And yeah, after this horrible experience, he started dedicating more of his time to charity work, like reconstructing the island and helping other victims, survivors. Jet Li truly is a hero on and off the screen.
Without asking what's your country, where you're from, what's your religion, they just help each other. And I say, if I'm survived this time, I will change my life. Because Jelly already dead. Next move, Jelly living to show the love to the world. Do everything I can to help people in the future.
Now, let's get back to talking about stupid things like movies.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the little part one, man. I was crazy. I felt like I was crazy saying that he might be on an island, but hey, he really might be just reconstructing an island still, like doing charity efforts. We're gonna get back to the breakdown in part 2 of the rest of his career, most likely. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share your thoughts on the video, and Jet Li's charitable, what's the words I'm looking for? Contribution to society. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, ain't till it's the come. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See, these games turn me into a monster. Hey, I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, till it's the come. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See, these games turn me into a monster. I'm a cowboy, can't stop. Hey, all that pain got me feeling jaded. Many Utero in the making, still plugged into the mix, but lagging out before the update. Drop back in, different time, same location.